Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. Absolutely shocking, devastating news this morning coming in of the passing of Liverpool forward Diogo Jota, who's tragically died at the age of 28 in a car crash in northern Spain with his younger brother, 26 years of age. Absolutely, look, there are no words. There's two things I want to talk about really. The most important thing, which is the loss of human lives, and secondly, the football loss. We are a football community. We are on That's Football, and we have this incredible thing that brings us together, which is the ability to talk in a respectful way about football. And I'm very proud of this community and its ability to do that. It sort of transcends rivalry anyway, because we can appreciate Liverpool players, Arsenal players, and have a proper conversation about it. I think the most important thing to start off with before I talk about Jota, the footballer, is that, hug the people that matter. Life is a gift. It is precious and it is fragile. And as shocking as this is today to be talking about, and I can't think in this sort of blur and haze of disbelief of a time where we have lost a Premier League footballer in their prime in these circumstances. And I don't really want to read about other ones. That I'm not saying that there hasn't been. What I'm saying is it's a sense of complete and utter disbelief, which will leave a huge void in football, an even bigger hole in Liverpool Football Club. And of course, the most important thing to say is thoughts and prayers with friends and family. This is a man who got married 5 days ago, who has 3 young children, who has died in a car crash with his brother. I can't even begin to imagine the impact on those close to Jota this morning. This is a loss of life that, as we were talking about briefly on the United stand on the news show, and look, the amount of outpouring of grief and disbelief and sadness in that community, around football itself, in the world of sport, in the world in general, just shows just how these sort of things are really difficult for people to deal with. And if you are one of those people, you're not alone. Like it's really difficult to understand. As humans, we always want to understand, we want to justify, and I think in my experience, and probably in others as well, when it comes to death, there isn't always an answer. There isn't. And we want to justify it because it's so final. It's so the end of that story. And who knows like what happened or why, but there is not necessarily a why. Who knows? These things will be happening all over the world. Tragic loss of life, which is just unfathomable, and you can't justify it. Which is why you just have to realise how fragile life is, and we're probably not the best at doing that. We take things for granted naturally. We do things, we go to work, we say goodbye to friends, and we assume we're going to see them again, and we just don't know. And that's why it's just really important to appreciate and love and, cherish what you have, because you never know when it's going to go. And bad things happen to good people, and bad people don't necessarily get bad things happening to them. Life isn't fair at times, and it isn't justifiable. So it's just really, really, really difficult to justify. So we must grieve as football fans. And look, I would also say as well, it never surprises me how vile and horrible people can be when they sense a weakness of other people. And I've already seen the stuff on social media, and I would implore not just Liverpool fans, but fans of other clubs, ignore these people who are looking for attention. They're looking for interaction. They've done it about other tragedies involving other football clubs, Liverpool Football Club, and they will keep doing it because there are people out there that don't think nice things. They are vile people. And that is why when something like this happens, you see the outpouring, and I've seen it today in our United Stand community, I've seen it in other communities, I've seen it on social media, just an outpouring of love and sorrow for the loss of Jota and his brother this morning. So ignore those people who will be vile, because the longer we move away from this, the more they will become vile, because it won't be as shocking. So ignore them. They're always going to be there. The bigger voice is the one for good. Ignore the bad. And there's a lot of people out there who are, sharing in this shocking, horrible news. And it's as I said, for Liverpool, in a footballing sense, for Liverpool Football Club, this is a huge tragedy again for them. And how they deal with that isn't for now. I've seen people innocently moving on too quick, talking about stupid things like transfers, and that will have to happen. Life will go on. The show will go on. That's the one thing human nature has always been about, is resilience and moving on. And we will move on, but there is a time to grieve, and that is very much now. And Liverpool will be playing their games in 6 weeks' time, and they'll be going on their tour to the other side of the world, and all those things will happen, and all the right things will be done by that football club around supporting their community, their fan base, the family of Jota. But that's for down the road in relation to what happens around bringing other players in or anything like that. No one wants to be talking about that at the moment. What I do want to talk about, though, is that there is a loss of life. There is a loss of a footballer. And I think that when I think about Jota, and I was thinking about this before I did the video, and I took a few notes, one of the first things that came out that I thought about Diogo Jota was that I don't think he was appreciated in the sense of maybe someone like a Mo Salah or a Kevin De Bruyne, but I actually really did respect him as a top quality footballer. When he went from Wolves to Liverpool, I can't remember the exact fee, but I thought that's actually quite a clever move. He was a good player at Wolves. I'd seen Jurgen Klopp take players like that before and take them from top class to world class, or good to top class. And it was an intelligent signing of a really talented player who I think at Liverpool has at times really been one of their better players, who, and I'd bow down to Liverpool fans on this, but from the outside looking in, if there was one thing that I think maybe held Jota back a little bit at Liverpool, was injuries. I mean, I remember the last season of Klopp, he was playing absolutely brilliant at what would have been halfway through the season. So where are we now? It's 2025. So January 2024, around that 6 weeks from January to mid-February, he was unbelievable. I think I'm correct in saying, didn't he score against Man City? It might have been later on in the season, but he was absolutely their best player. I think he was playing brilliant. And the interesting thing is, I think he got injured around the middle of February. And when he got injured around the middle of February, Liverpool were top. And when he came back in April, Liverpool were third. And life is horrible, unpredictable. It's all about ifs. If I hadn't done that, if I had done this, would this still be? But I think there is a case, and I always thought it, and I maybe have said it, I maybe haven't said it, but I always remember that he was playing so well and he got injured. I think that if he hadn't got injured, we might have had a very different title race that year. I think he's a really, really good footballer who was very respected outside of Liverpool, and I know Liverpool fans absolutely worshipped him, and they're going through their own thing now, and how you do that. I think there is, if I'm being honest, I think all of us who aren't Liverpool fans are thinking this is shocking. And then in a football sense, and there's nothing wrong with thinking this, it all comes down to the loss of life, and that is the thing that makes you feel sick. But I think there is this fragility in football right now where you go, he's a Liverpool player in his prime and he's gone. How has that happened? Like, when has this ever happened? And you think, you look at your own team and you think, well, life's really fragile. And we're all thinking that in different ways. And Liverpool have got that to deal with as a fan base and as a community, and that they have that to deal with. And I can only imagine what that feels like, because what we're dealing with is the shock and sadness. But as a footballer, he was very good. A very good footballer, a very well-respected footballer who played the game in the right way as well. You know, and that wouldn't make any difference if he didn't. You know, if he was a bit of a, you know, mouthy, bad tackling, you know, whatever. That doesn't make any difference. But the reality is, I think he played football in the right way, and I think he was respected in the right way, and a very, very talented footballer, and a huge, huge loss to football. And you can say that because we are a football community. Nobody isn't starting off with the most important thing, the loss of life and the loss to Liverpool Football Club, and more importantly, the loss to his family and children. And you know, his brother as well has also died in this accident. But also football is grieving at the moment. And we will not forget Diogo Jota. Just a very, very sad day. Get your comments in below. I know there's a lot of outpouring there, and please be respectful. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you soon.